Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, Stephen Stark, and back this week, regular co-host Nessie. Great to have you back. We missed you the last time you were supposed to be on. You got stuck out of town, but
yeah,
good to have you back. And you all know Emma, returning guest here to talk about one of her favorite characters, and the other episode also.
It is Erin, though, and not Emma, the other E in the Slack. So
oh my God, did I say Emma? Did I say Emma, really?
Yep.
Hey, look, like, I don't know how to read, so I just went with the closest sounding name. It
and
is
again,
Erin.
it's easy in the Slack. We're fine. So
Erin M. Emma's also would be a returning guest, but like, and I see her in the chat. Hi, Emma. But man, okay, a little bit of egg on my face.
You've been struggling with these what if alternate.
Yeah, what if?
Yeah, there we go.
What if your name was actually Emma?
What if Emma and I are the same person? So.
Well, you do have similar glasses.
It's true. It's true. So, and E's names begin with E and birthdays in July. So it's really close anyway.
You're practically the same person.
Yeah, we really are. So.
Let me hear your English accent. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Gonna pass on that one. Thank you.
Yeah, we're here to talk about What If series, the latest from Marvel, the animated series, and I'm just going to start with I am hooked already. I'm already sold out on this show. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. How about you, Erin? Where are you at so far?
So I've loved both the episodes that we have seen so far. This is totally everyone who watches this is going to be like, get her out, kick her out right immediately. But I actually, for all that you guys were gushing last week, I don't normally connect all that much with animated shows. I find it difficult to sort of connect with them on an emotional basis. There are some exceptions. Futurama has made me cry like three different times, like, and things like that. But I like animation very much. I just sometimes find it hard to connect with emotionally. So I was not really it's like Human Faces or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I get it.
But yeah, it's like I said, I'm not like, ugh, it's for children, or it's terrible or anything. It's just a me thing. But I really, really like these episodes. I am very much wondering if every episode is going to be disconnected, or if later in the show they're going to start sort of like bringing stuff into the same timeline at all, or if it's all just going to be like these are one-off things that happened. So sorry,
your best
sorry,
friend.
John, I'm here this week and you're not. I am the captain.
John, you have been replaced this week.
And while I am a poor substitute for John Webster when it comes to film knowledge and things like that, I am a great substitute for Webster when talking about how great Marvel is. So
yeah. Exactly.
Oh, big sting.
Because you are a Marvel fan.
Yes. Yep. Big, not comics though, unfortunately. Sorry.
You are an MCU fan.
Yes, definitely. Huge MCU fan.
Yeah. Well, and hence, like when I brought up that we were doing this, Erin was like, her hand shot up and said, "Me, please," and I said, "Yes, absolutely." Erin, it's always nice to have you on. We used to see each other a little more frequently on our Zoom hangouts, but schedules change, and I'm not on at the same times I used to be, and what have you. But it's always great to have you, Erin. Always great.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love to talk to you guys. So,
but yeah, so I'm gonna throw it to Nessie. 2 episodes in, what's your overall view?
I really, really like it. Coming off of these other shows that we've had, WandaVision and Loki, especially introducing us to the possibility of the multiverse. And What If is just tagging right onto that, like, okay, what if in this universe this particular character was it just opens up all the possibilities of how the multiverse can change and move things around and move characters around, but still kind of maintaining the same vibe. That was the first thing that like really struck me. Like I said, especially coming right off of Loki. 2, unlike Erin, I cried. Okay, I cried in episode 1. So I really, really was able to emotionally connect with these characters, animation aside, which is really good. The animation is
I will agree.
really good. So far, 2 thumbs up from me. As to whether we're going to see anything tying in later on in the series, I'm kind of thinking, I'm leaning toward the not on that, because I think Marvel is using this avenue to just explore the possibilities of things that aren't, going to be tied into, the rest of the MCU and the shows that we've seen.
Yeah. So I guess my broader overview is going to echo the same things y'all both just said. Like, I kind of love it. I think the animation looks great. It's something I had to get used to at first a little bit, that specific style.
Mm-hmm.
But, once I got there, I was like, it's great. The stories are both really good. We've got 2 halves of the show, so I figure we'll just start with the Agent Carter half.
I think just for 2 hours.
I think so.
An hour and a half, okay.
I've got a lot to say about the other one too, but all glory to the woman who kicks it all off. My question to you is, how awesome would it be if Agent Carter, Peggy Carter, was the first Avenger? And the answer to me is pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, I have one criticism, and I'm just going to state it up front. And that is, I felt that this episode mirrored its source material a little bit more than I would have wanted it to. Again, your mileage may vary with that. To me, it wasn't different enough for me to go. But when I put that minor gripe aside and I watch it, I'm like, it's fantastic. Holy crap. When she hits someone, I feel it. Mm-hmm. This is the way they're able to sort of deliver that kinetic energy when she's fighting. Oh, it's god dang brilliant. There's nothing quite like watching Captain Carter punch a Nazi, because she's breaking people's. I'm sorry, what's that, Erin?
I said who deserve to be punched. P.S.
Right. Yeah. But so for me, the second one is the better of the two. But I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It's like a 8.5 out of 10 for me. But yeah, so I'm actually going to turn it over to you, Erin, because when you heard, you're like, yes, I want to come talk about Captain Carter.
Yeah. I also love the second one as well. And I think you're right that the second one is perhaps a little bit more dynamic, but yeah, 100%. So I will say that I full up front here, Agent Carter, I think, is the best MCU TV series. I think that out of all of even the more recent ones, I think WandaVision is probably a close second for me. But if you have not watched Agent Carter, it is on Disney Plus. Please go watch Agent Carter, because
I've seen it. It's good.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. It's like a noir detective thing with sort of Peggy Carter, and Anvira Gokai is in it, and James Darcy, and one of my favorite portrayals in the entirety of the MCU, and this is saying something, is I absolutely love Dominic Cooper as Howard Stark.
And he's brilliant in this too.
Yes,
they brought him back to do the voice here, and God, he kills it.
Yeah. Yes, I was so excited. So I'm already predisposed to like anything that has Peggy Carter in it, because I think that is the absolute best Marvel TV show. But I will say that, Stephen, it's so interesting, because I can totally see where you see the sort of mirroring as a criticism. I think that's it's extremely fair. However, one of the things that I liked the most was that this showed that power did not change Steve Rogers, and power does not change Peggy Carter. Both Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter were going to be heroes. They were going to be who they were, regardless of what sort of life threw at them. They were going to be exactly who they were, regardless of who got the serum and who had to sort of work sort of on other people's good graces, who had to have a machine and who had to go work in the SSR and, you know, like all of this other kind of stuff. I think that kind of spoke to me, because I don't necessarily always like I love women who punch, but I don't necessarily always like that's the only way that, you know, women can be successful or do good things, is if they sort of punch people. Well, we've already seen the Peggy Carter, who definitely punches like a normal sort of human being. But I think that's why this worked so well for me, is because it was just an inversion of the two of them, showing that they were always going to be exactly who they were, regardless of sort of you know, gadgets and gizmos and super serums and things like that. So
Okay, I like that take though. Like, you know, again, it's art, it's subjective. We're going to see and experience it differently. But I can actually appreciate that take quite a lot. Nessie, you look like you're sitting on something.
Well, I mean, I had the Peggy Carter, Steve Rogers dynamic was always there in the original story, and it's played out again in the What If series. As Erin said, you know, they were both always going to be heroes because that's who they are. Mm-hmm. But it may seem like your complaint, Stephen, that it is a retelling and it was too close to the original. Well, they didn't pluck someone who wasn't in the original story and say, oh, we're just going to throw, you know, let's pick this person and throw them in, you know, give them the super serum, you know, give Bucky Barnes the super serum first and let's see where it goes. Then, like, Peggy Carter is just kind of way over here back doing her own thing. Steve would be, you know, that's a whole nother what if. But their stories are so intertwined that you can't tell one story without the other. So having them both told in this way, with this mirror image of one another, I think you kind of had to do it that way. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't such a divergence from the main story. It couldn't diverge, but so much from the main story. And also, if I had to hear John Flynn say, "You're lucky you're even in the room," one more time, I was going to punch my TV. Because even though, you know, Steve Rogers, he didn't have superpowers, he didn't get the serum, but he got the opportunity to get put in the suit. You know,
he's the original Iron Man now.
Yeah, was he the Iron Man 1.0, 0.01? I don't know, probably so. But, you know, he had a place at the table. He was given you know, he was able to be in the room. Peggy, if she wasn't going to get that place at the table, and that just pisses me off so much that she had to get the serum to be heard,
right? And
the tagline when Steve told her, "Well, you're lucky they don't have you out, you know, doing bond sales and rallies and stuff," nod to the original story. Yeah, that was cool. But that was like, okay, he got put on the sidelines for a minute in the original story and had to prove himself in other ways because they didn't quite know what to do with him. They didn't want to. All Peggy was good for is, oh, okay, you survived the serum. We're going to take your blood. We're going to use this and process it. And you're lucky to have a seat at the table.
Yeah, and then, like, I heard what you're saying, like, and it all makes good sense to me. And I also hear about your point about, like, why it works for her to become, you know, action girl, if you will, you know, punch lady, because we've seen her be a badass without being punch lady.
Without any augmentation whatsoever.
Right. And
I mean, founder of S.H.I.E.L.D., for God's sakes.
Right. And like, yes, you punch people, but, like, that's not her normal go-to. Like, she's smart. Mm-hmm. She got a good heart. She got good tactical awareness of what's going on. She's pretty brave and fearless, even if. And let's be honest, she clearly had some kind of, like, martial arts training that Steve Rogers didn't have when he got the serum. Steve Rogers was just that scrawny kid who couldn't do nothing, and then he became this big buff guy. So he gained a sort of natural athleticism. But when Peggy went into the chamber, she was already trained, which is why when she comes out, she's she's not only Punch Lady, but like, my God, that first scene where that first true action scene of hers, where she's fighting against the motorcycles and the trucks, basically, with that run into the plant herself and with the that was. I watched both episodes again, like less than 2 hours ago. I finished them up right before the stream started, maybe 20 minutes before the stream started, and that was one of those moves that is just like, yeah, that's a money shot right there.
But I think Peggy also, like, in addition to sort of having these sort of sassy, badass lady qualities, Peggy is also kind and compassionate in sort of a lot of the ways that Steve Rogers is as well. They both have that going for them, in addition to their fighting prowess. In Agent Carter, she shows it a lot that Peggy is kind, and she does it. She's not one of those women who feels like she needs to grind other people beneath her boot heel. She pulls Rose. She doesn't pull the ladder up after her. She pulls Rose into their assignments in season 2 and things like that. And so I enjoy that they show that Peggy is strong and she can kick ass, even when she's unadulterated, by the serum. But they also show that she exhibits other admirable and good qualities that I think they do highlight these in Steve as well sometimes. But I like that that Peggy doesn't lose those either. She doesn't have to be Punch Lady all the time. She can be a woman who helps people. And
we see that directly in the episode, especially through her ongoing romance with Steve.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that they kept that. I like, because that's you can tell in the original movie that she's into Steve before he's like big muscle guy,
Yeah.
And so I love that they expand on that here too. That made my heart so happy. Like I love Peggy and Steve. I also love Peggy and Daniel in Agent Carter. Like that's my one like weird thing with this is I'm like, ooh, who do I ship harder? Like I hardly ship anyone, but with her, I'm like, I love those relationships both so much that I'm like, ooh, which role do I want to be true more? But but I like that was also one of the like I sobbed in Endgame was when they show Steve and Peggy dancing, so I love the two of them together, and I love that they expanded on that in this as well. So sorry, Stephen, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got
no, by all means, that's what a discussion show is about.
Yeah, that's one thing that she and Steve both share is the ability to see the potential in other people, and help to bring out their potential. It's not all about them. They're not ego mongers or what have you. They're team players, and they want to bring out and pull forward other members of the team and bring out the best in everyone that's around them. So that's what a good captain does, right?
Right. I have it on good authority that Peggy Carter, at least Captain Carter version, can lift Thor's hammer. I mean, the same way Steve could. I'm betting she can.
I would bet so too.
Yeah, but she's got a badass sword though.
She does have a badass sword. Just happened to be on the wall there. Like, that's a little convenient, but like, the convenience of a sword being
so well.
She was facing the inconvenience of interdimensional tentacles, so I'll allow it. Yeah.
And I did really like that little nod to Hive from Hydra agent from Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That whole little tie-in to the to Hive when they brought the Cthulhu monster through. It's like, yeah, I didn't really see him as Cthulhu monster. That wasn't how he was visualized, but that was the ultimate goal of Hydra, was to loose this monstrosity on the world. Yeah, I like that little nod. Those little tidbits that they that they carried forward.
I suppose.
Right on. Well, okay. So I kind of loved also, Erin, that they kept the romance plotline, like, because, okay, Peggy Carter from the movies fits what you might call a traditional standard of beauty pretty well. Scrawny Steve Rogers is not, but then he does eventually. And they're both the hottest versions of themselves, so to speak. Steve doesn't get the super soldier serum, stays the small guy. Peggy does get the super soldier serum and becomes big and bulky and maybe a little less fitting the stereotype of societal perceptions of beauty, a little bit less. So they're like, but I still love that they found, because that's what love really is, right? It's seeing the beauty inside a person despite what their outer appearance might suggest. I will say buff Peggy Carter looked pretty damn good still. So maybe this analogy breaks down a little bit, but
yeah, it's not like she became an Uggo when she got a little fucked up there. Yeah.
But she is like an Amazon warrior, tall and buff and like, yeah. But like she's still a pretty woman. Like it's still Haley Atwell's face, which I think they did a pretty good job of capturing the likeness of the actors for the most part without having to stay precious to what those actors actually look like. Like Steve Rogers has a pretty flat chin in the What If series. There ain't no flat chin on Chris Evans, no matter, even with the facial replacement, like that strong chin is still there.
Steve Rogers grows a beard, doesn't necessarily need a beard, still looks better with the beard.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Beard.
Team Beard. I was having some so I was sort of discussing this with my brother-in-law. I was actually having some issues with the I don't know if it was the animation or if it was out of sync or something. Corbin thought that he thought that there were weird line readings. He didn't think like Sebastian Stan, for instance.
I thought Sebastian Stan was the weak link in this episode.
Doing a great job there. But I seem to think in the second episode, it seemed to me more like the mouth movements were not synced with the dialogue. There was something that just kept sort of catching me off and I couldn't figure out what it was, but Corbin was like, I felt like Sebastian Stan had some I'm Ron Burgundy sort of line reading moments, and I was like, I guess I didn't think he was that bad, but I couldn't quite figure out what exactly it was. I mean, Stephen, you noticed it too, though? I
did. I thought Sebastian Stan specifically, like, voice acting is a separate skill from regular acting. When you lack the context, when you lack the feedback of other actors and being on set, like, it can be very hard to deliver heartfelt lines. Peggy did a great job. Dominic Cooper, especially, I thought did a great job. Stanley Tucci did fine with the little bit that he had to do.
It was only Chris Evans who was not like the original character, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I think that's correct. Like, I know that we've seen whatever character Tommy Lee Jones played gets shot, like right at the beginning, right after the explosion, he gets shot, which is why the gray-haired general is in charge.
Okay.
But like, he doesn't have any lines either, so he just shows up and dies. But I think they did that so they didn't have to have Tommy Lee Jones come back.
Come for like 2 lines, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to say you're lucky to be in the room.
Right.
Although that actor, like, I bought that actor and that character. I bought it because I wanted to punch him. That's how I knew he was doing a good job.
That's how you're supposed to feel about that guy. Right. That guy's one job was to be punchable. So, yeah.
Yeah. Punchable, yet not a Nazi. So.
Right.
Right.
One
but,
of the non-Nazi people.
But like a misogynist, which is, let's be honest, better than a Nazi, but like still far from ideal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with Nessie there, so maybe a little, I suppose, but yeah. So,
he only gets to stay in the room because he's not a Nazi. So.
Right. There you go. But that was another thing that I sort of I liked the through line there as well, that they kept the fact that becoming a super soldier didn't solve the misogyny problem. You know,
Right.
like people were just as awful to her after she got this, you know, super soldier serum where she can like make all these differences and change the world and stuff. And instead she's still being treated like the little lady in the corner, you know.
Breaking nail.
Yeah. And that's
I feel like they didn't even think to send her out on bond sales.
Right.
You know, she couldn't go even represent them in that way. I'm like, you fuckers. you know?
Yeah, they consider, it's a waste. Now we've wasted this, you know, and it's
the serum.
Yeah,
it's like this is. Go ahead, Stephen.
I was just gonna say it's a nice subtle, you know, like it wasn't overtly tackling the question about racism, or it's not racism, sexism, but like it definitely, you know, you can't look at the 40s and not think about that. You can't look at, you know, the question is, what if? Honestly, what if this very capable woman was made into the one and only super soldier? And part of the answer to that is there are men in position of power who are going to resent the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound, let me explain, because this is going to sound real bad when I first say it, but I feel like misogyny is such a part, it's so part and parcel with Peggy Carter's character, like overcoming misogyny and dealing with misogynists. Like the one thing, the line that's quoted the most often from Agent Carter is when she says, like, I know my value and other people's opinion of me doesn't matter. And I think that the misogyny is there, but the point is that she sort of rises above it. In all iterations of Peggy, sort of rise above it. That that she sort of doesn't let it affect her opinion of herself. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, she rises above it, and so all women should have been able to rise above their circumstances or anything like that, because most of them couldn't, you know. But she doesn't let it. She knows who she is in here. And again, even with the serum, she knows who she is. So having those sort of male attitudes around her just repeatedly serve to reinforce one of the things that's very special about Peggy Carter, which is her self-confidence and her belief in herself, which makes her a sort of which is more important than punching people when you're looking for a role model. So,
well, there's a reason that the character of Captain America resonates with people around the world, despite what a lot of people outside of America might think of this country that we live in. Like, they could still look at the character of Captain America and find him to be very appealing, and by extension, Captain Carter in this episode, because she's very, very similar to Steve Rogers in all those important ways. About what she believes in, the stands that she's willing to take, where she can budge and where she can't, and the follow through to stand up for what she does believe in.
Yeah, that willingness to sacrifice.
Both of those. Like, there's a reason that Steve Rogers resonates with people around the world, despite being very tied to America, and especially the modern iteration of America. For those of you that don't know, we're not that popular, you know.
What? Oh my God!
But like, here's Kate, Canadian, loves Captain America. I mean, it doesn't hurt that he looks like Chris Evans, I'm sure, but
not even a little.
But like, he's a good-hearted person, and so is Peggy. You know, I like Punch Lady as much as the next guy. Like, she's awesome, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that before we're done. But you're right; it really is her idealism that drives her. The same thing that drove the Captain America character is that idealism.
It's so funny because, like, everybody's talking about loving Captain America, like, and I do. I love the actual version of Captain America, who's for protecting the weak and all this stuff rather than what people are trying to make him these days, but I know this is so like ridiculously like jingoistic and stuff, but I was like, I really like Captain Carter. I don't like the shield with the Union Jack on it instead of the American flag. Like every time I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. I want to go back to being America.
I'm going to look real quick. Yeah. So you'll notice that there's, I guess it's a later episode. There's a zombie Captain America.
Yeah.
But he's got the white star, blue circle, and then red, white, red. So it's like the red, white stripes, and then the blue and the stars. This has the Union Jack, and then like a tricolor, like the outer color is blue instead of red on Captain Carter's shield. So like it is different. I'm going to agree. I don't love the Union Jack in the middle of it. I think it would have been better if they Union Jacked the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I want the American. I want that to look more like the American flag, So I don't know. Again, and I know you guys. I know that America sucks in like 1,000 different ways, but Captain America too. My cousin who passed when he was 33, Captain America was his favorite. So Captain America also like holds a special place in my heart as it sort of relates to my cousin and things like that. So I'm totally like one of those people that's like, I don't want anything different with Captain America. I want Captain America to stay exactly the same. But that being said, like I did love Captain Carter. So yeah, I just every time I saw that Union Jack, I was like, I wanted to go back the other way. So.
Don't love the shield, but like I'm glad that they did something different just to distinguish it, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, Stephen. I guess
everything the same. Nice little nod there to Arthurian legend there.
The sword and the stone, you mean?
The sword, yes, the sword on the wall, the sword and the stone.
Somebody literally asked, "Who are you supposed to be, the Queen of England?"
Yeah,
is that Bucky that asked
nice little wink and a nod there. King Arthur returned when the world most needed them. Like, okay, World War II, they're getting defeated by Nazis. Great time.
We are nothing if not sickeningly pedantic, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly, for correcting us. What do you call it when it's not aboard a ship? I'll just there you go.
Danny.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Oh my god.
That's going to be John Walker's. John Walker's shield is going to be
a flaming dumpster. I love that. Oh.
Okay, I guess this is called Union Flag.
Nah,
that's kind of boring.
We love our unnecessary pedantry here.
Yes, we do.
Which is like one of our taglines, coined by Ms. Erin M. herself. And still going strong. We need to get T-shirts made that just say unnecessarily pedantic on it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that the Herbicon design did not have unnecessary pedantry on it, but
I think we're going to make that a merch one, Because real talk, merch store is coming in the not too distant future.
Yay! This is the only podcast I watch regularly that I don't have any merch for.
Because we don't have merch yet, but
Great ideas, though.
Yeah.
We got some really smart people. We got some really smart, funny, talented people in our circle, and yeah.
Apparently, my mother named me. I thought my middle name was Mitchell, but apparently it's pedantic.
Oh, a nice little nod there, Kate.
The Sword of Might or the Shield of Right. I like that.
Peggy gets both.
Because believe me, if Britain,
she's the best.
If Britain is like to be associated with anything, it is might makes right.
No, I gotta go back to sort of John's point at the very beginning when he was like, I just wish this was longer. And like that was one of my, like I said, very few complaints about the whole thing was like, I want to know how literally everything else goes now. Like with Peggy being gone, like does Steve start S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like how does literally anything else go after this? If Peggy is then gone, you know, like does Sharon exist? You know, because I know that like she's actually Peggy's niece, but then like there's a bunch of shit in season 2 of Agent Carter with like with the so never mind. Sorry, I don't want to be like super spoily or anything like that, but like there's like does Sharon exist in this universe where Peggy was gone for however long, even if Peggy didn't birth her? Or like the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, well, can we just have a movie of this, please? Like, I would really like a Captain Carter movie. So, I want to know more about how the world works after Peggy leaves and sort of Steve stays versus the other way around.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to see the sort of like the entire MCU where this is the setup for it. Like, give me her and the Avengers.
Right.
But like, there are 7 episodes of this left, and it feels like they might be setting things up where that could happen by the end.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I want to see it, how it connects to sort of if any of these connect to each other. You know, are these all entirely separate universes, or is this some sort of butterfly effect? Is episode 2 some sort of butterfly effect from episode 1? Are they going to connect these episodes? You know, and like you said, I think maybe not. Maybe the whole point is for them to just be entirely separate, contained episodes. But I would love to see these connect in some way as well. I would love to see the sort of aftermath of the things that we are seeing, you know. And again, that's sort of the curse of anything is that I always want more. Give me more of this stuff. I want to learn more. So yeah.
Well, all right. Here comes the conversation about the multiverse. WandaVision did its part to set it up. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier really didn't. But oh boy, did Loki do its job setting up the multiverse.
It's kind of created it there.
And so all of these stories are canon for their, you know, they're the reality of their individual timelines, so to speak. Do I think all of them are going to tie together? No, I don't. But I think this is an opportunity for them to do things going forward. Like you could have Michael B. Jordan come back in the next Black Panther movie as a parallel universe Killmonger that wasn't the worst, you know. But as far as like what's going to connect together, I actually think they will connect things together. This is what Marvel does. My expectation is they're not wasting screen time on something that's not going to pan out somehow. Now, maybe not.
That's a good point.
Maybe not every one of these episodes is going to connect to something bigger. Maybe some of them are more filler, just for the sake of a fun, wild ride. But Captain Carter's awesome, and I would love to see a Captain Carter make a live action appearance in some movie in the future.
Any additional Haley Atwell is a big plus. So
yeah, I agree. Even if they have to CG her onto some, you know, professional wrestler's body, like, or you know, get her to bulk up and do force perspective or what have you. Like, I'm here for it because I really enjoyed the character of Agent Carter.
They made skinny Steve. Surely they could make bulky Agent Carter.
I'm sure they could. I mean, Tatiana Maslany is supposed to be She-Hulk, and she's not a large woman. But,
true.
You know.
I mean, the camera does add 10 pounds, so it could all be 10.
Yeah.
Well, Hulk is entirely, the Hulk himself is, you know.
I mean, Mark Ruffalo is not that bulky. You know?
Mark Ruffalo's not a giant radioactive monster or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would really love to see that. I would really love to see a Captain Carter, and even if they don't make the crossover, like it's what if Captain
Sure.
Carter and T'Challa Star Lord and whatever, pick up the threads from this and throw them at a Thanos or something, Kang the Conqueror, who is probably going to be the big bad for this phase.
Iron Man, Pepper Potts.
Do what?
I said Iron Man, Pepper Potts, Iron Lady.
The Iron Lady.
The Iron Lady.
That's a nickname for Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah,
So-
boo on that.
She has a name too. What is her name? As
Rescue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, it's something kind of dumb, but
It's
yeah.
forgettable, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's forgettable.
Yes, 100%. I'm like, yay, Marvel ladies. What was her name again?
What was her
So
name?
yeah.
I don't know that they ever actually said it. I just happen to know that piece of trivia.
Yeah.
Kate says she's heard rumblings of Captain Carter in the multiverse of madness.
So I
I
haven't
love
heard
it.
that specific rumor, but I have heard that we have definitely not seen the last of Captain Carter. That she will appear either. I couldn't quite understand what they were saying from the quote, but it was she will either appear more in this season of What If, or she will appear in another season of What If. So I know that I've definitely heard that part. I had not heard anything about the multiverse of madness, but I would not be mad about that at all. So
No, I don't think any of us would.
Not a throwaway character.
No. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple specific, like one specific, or we'll call it a scene. It's the sort of like swing jazz montage where she's kicking butt and like the scene where she flies out on the Hydra Stomper's back, jumps off, comes crashing in through the nose cone of the bomber, beats the crap out of the entire crew, jumps out, punches an airplane out of the sky, and then jumps off and does like the slow fall onto Steve's back. I'm just like, I'm eating that whole thing up. Because again, it just is like when she punches somebody, I feel pain. She hurts me by watching what she's doing on screen. But yeah, I love it. I loved everything about it.
the fight scenes were very good. Again, some of them got a little. Again, it was kind of the dialogue for me a little bit. Like that was brilliant. It was sort of a bit. I don't know. I guess maybe I just never heard Peggy Carter be that animated before. Like she's not sort of an enthusiastic yeller of a person, So, and I know that's not typically the British way or anything, but the fight scenes were very, very good. So, Eric, what up?
Hey man, when you come to Here Be Dragons, you gonna get something sexy.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Should we turn off the camera? I mean, you guys need
Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good, man. You're good. It's always good to see you.
But yeah, so I thought the fight scenes were really good. My particular favorite scene was when they almost kiss and Howard ruins it. When they're in the bar and they're about to kiss and Howard's like, "Come on, let's go." I was like, I love Howard.
And then he's a total creeper, and he's just like
very problematic, but I love Howard Stark. So. Or Dominic Cooper is Howard Stark, I guess. So yeah, and then Bucky drives up too. I loved that. I thought that was so. I love the way that they use Howard Stark for sort of like he's obviously like a very serious character, but it's like there's levity to him almost all the time, and I think that's what neither Steve nor Peggy have a ton of levity to them. So I liked this kind of. That's why I think he works really well with sort of her and Agent Carter Jarvis and things like that, and like this kind of he just sort of. I don't know. Like I said, he sort of lightens things up and makes it fun. And I was really happy that they chose to include him. And like you said, really happy that Dominic Cooper chose to come back and voice him because I just think he's perfection as Howard Stark. So
He's my head canon now for Howard Stark. I mean,
I also love that like the big breakthrough that Tony Stark makes is the arc reactor. But who needs an arc reactor when you have the Tesseract? So
That's a
like
reaction.
his father was able to produce a similar style machine, granted much bigger and bulkier and didn't have the agility, but was every bit as tough as the Iron Man armor. He didn't invent the arc reactor, but once he got his hands on a sufficient power source, like he was able to make a pretty impressive piece of machinery that looks great on screen too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her riding him into battle was wonderful. I loved Steve Rogers as Peggy's noble steed there.
Yeah,
like,
I was.
into battle. So there was a Funko of that I missed out on Amazon, and I was really bummed. I was like, I would have liked that one, but yeah, those were, yeah.
Are you a Funko collector?
I only have a couple. Actually, I only have 2 right now, but I've been thinking about getting a Peggy Carter one for a while. So I only have Sansa, Coronation Sansa, and Kingsguard Brienne. So yeah.
Hey, like if you're gonna have a couple of Funkos, you're gonna have 2. That's not a bad pair to have.
It's the motif.
Brienne's over here, but in the corner there. But yeah,
I see her. Hi, Brienne.
But Sansa's at my desk at work. But yeah, so I don't have a ton, mostly because I'm kind of a hoarder. So if I really start on collecting those, I'm probably
you'll have like 40 of them.
Overrun with them. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but I probably do need an Agent Carter one though, because I really like that one. So
well, clearly you love Agent Carter.
Yeah, sorry, I love both, but yeah, sorry, I think
Captain Carter
feeds into it.
Like you love Peggy.
Yes, I do. I love Peggy Carter. There we go. Yeah, in all of her iterations. So
my question for you is then, Erin, is this: what would, if she does come back, in what capacity? What's the story you would like to see with her? Do you want to see basically the Avengers? Do you want to see something totally different?
I don't. It's sort of interesting. I guess my answer to this question is sort of always like, women, yay, women, more women. Let's see more. let's see a whole team of women Avengers, and stuff like that. But that's not that's sort of being a little bit facetious. I like the Avengers sort of as they are. I do think that Black Widow gets. I like Black Widow's ending. I know a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people thought it should have been Hawkeye instead. I think Hawkeye sucks, but I think it makes more sense for it to have been Black Widow in the end, who sacrificed. We can have a long conversation about that if you want to slide it.
We'll have the why Hawkeye sucks conversation some other time.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, but I do generally think that Marvel sort of does a good job introducing, sort of women heroes and things, and I think they're going to be a bigger part of the second phase of the MCU as well. But like I said, the things that I don't know. In this, I think that this is a little bit sort of counterintuitive because, like, I know that this isn't the only thing that women can do, but I love when they focus on the more human elements of the sort of MCU characters. Like I think I've said before that one of my favorite scenes in the MCU is Rocket and Thor in Infinity War when Thor is talking about how like he doesn't have anything else to lose and things. Like I love when they sort of do more of the human elements, and I would love to see a leader of the Avengers who is a woman who has sort of like the things that quote unquote women tend to be more adept at, such as compassion and things like that. I would love to see a universe where we're trying not to punch our way out of everything and instead are trying to be more diplomatic and things like that. I know that sounds boring. And again, I don't mean to be counterintuitive and be like, oh, women are always compassionate and loving and stuff. But
I don't think anybody thinks you're saying that. Right.
But like, I think that Peggy Carter is, and I would love to see something that brought that a little bit more to bear rather than so much explosion punching kind of thing, if that makes sense.
It does, but these are comic book movies, so it's unlikely to pan out that way.
Right. Right.
I think that would be a cool development as well, but maybe that comes after a whole bunch of punching. Although, because they're comic book movies, like explosions and shooting lasers out of your eyes is what they're for.
Right. Yes. And I like that stuff too. We've seen a lot of that, and I tend to think that we're taking in order to differentiate phase 2 from phase 1, we seem to be doing a lot with this of prepping for time travel and variants and things like that. And that's not quite as interesting to me, so if I were to try and take it in a different direction, I think I would probably go a more sort of human stories direction. But in a lot of people's minds, that's not what the MCU is or ever will be. So, that's okay too. I understand that people watch these movies for a certain thing and that it ain't that. So that's okay.
No, I disagree. I think part of what has made Marvel so successful is that they have found a good way to strike the balance. People are still talking about things, and they are still trying to find diplomatic ways out, and they are still, having philosophical conversations.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, Vision has a conversation with himself about the nature of self and the ship of Theseus. Like it's still there, but it gives a reason for the punching to matter.
Sure. And I agree with you on that one as well. I'm not that I know it's not just that, and that there is. I mean, good God, I think you and I have tried to browbeat John Webster several times with that same argument, and I completely agree with you. But
I love that the first thing that Peggy Carter or Captain Carter asked when she came back through was, "Where's Steve?" That was the first thing.
Where's my dance partner? Yeah.
Where's my dance partner? And where is he? He's 90 years old, maybe with Alzheimer's in a nursing home, or he's married some chick and has a passel of kids, or he died in the war. Who knows? But I think the sadness of Peggy Carter or Captain Carter, if she remains in this timeline, is going to be, she's going to have all that broody kind of sadness of what if, things had been different.
Ooh, that's a nice pull, Nessie. She can have her own what if moment.
Yeah, she has, like Steve, faced that angst and chose, hey, I'm just gonna jump back in the timeline and live a different life. But we don't all get to do that. So what is she? How is she gonna go forward if she stays and if she hangs around? Broody Captain.
I am very interested to find out the answer for that. Like, fantastic character before they brought her into the what if. And, if you're going to make her a super soldier, you're obviously going to give her, super punch lady powers. And which, again, I enjoyed this a whole lot. I thought, I had the one criticism. I thought it was a little too similar for what my taste was. But, that's a nitpick of an otherwise really solid story. Okay, my other nitpick is Sebastian Stan is not a professional voice actor.
He tried, though.
I mean, he showed up and he read the lines.
Sure.
But I thought everybody else was great. I get what you're saying about maybe Peggy being a little bit too expressive, but and not quite as staid and British as we've grown used to her being. But
her mom was always telling her she never was quite ladylike enough.
Right.
Always, her very proper, very English, mother kept telling her she wasn't ladylike enough. So it's kind of great.
Well, and she forces herself to be for a while there in the middle of her life. She forces herself to do that, and then she realizes that's just not really who she is. So
thanks to her brother,
right,
who saw in her what she couldn't see in herself.
And one of the things that I really did like about this too was, and I'm sorry, I know this is a topic that hits very close to people's hearts, a lot of people's hearts and stuff, but one of the most heartbreaking things in the entire MCU for me is that Peggy gets dementia, and that ends up being sort of the end of her life is dementia. It's sad, and it's just, I mean, it is for everyone. It's just so cruel, it's cruel that she has this amazing mind that sort of ends up just being turned against her and not not working and stuff. So I ended up thinking, God, how incredible that she's received the super serum, and so she's probably not going to go down that road now. Yeah, and it just it's, I mean, it's my mom's parents both had dementia, and I just, it's such an awful thing, and it felt like a weird thing for me to even be worried about, or to remember, but I was like, oh, good. Now that's not going to happen to her.
No, I don't have to be sad about that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can be like, yay, another universe where this turns out very differently for her. And I think it's sad, and I don't, but the thing is that I don't hate it, because it does happen to people every day. It's a
human story still.
Yes, it is. It's a real thing that happens to people, and it's tragic regardless of how wonderful you were in life, or how smart you were in life, or how clever you were in life. Like it's tragic regardless. And so I feel like there are people who don't like it because they're like, oh, well, that's just mean, but it's not. It's a real thing that happens in people's lives, and I wish there was a serum that you could give them that made it not happen to them, because it's cruel, and it's tragic, and it's terrible, So I was sort of glad to have that alleviated in this particular universe. So
yeah. It's nice to think that Peggy does not suffer that fate in this parallel reality. Is there anything else either of you want to, like, last points you want to make about Peggy before we hit the mid-roll? There's at least one thing from Nessie.
Go, Nessie.
Question: what if Steve Rogers becomes a Winter Soldier? I thought that when they had the whole train accident, and he went over the cliff, and in the original, that's where it's about, Bucky Barnes goes down, but they rescue him. But it kind of touched on it. It kind of led you down that path.
Just slightly, at least.
Yeah, just kind of.
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that, but like, that's wow. I'm like, wow, that's
wonderful. Would that be?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not what's going to happen here, because he's not going to fall into Hydra's hands. So he's not going to be.
Still evil.
But it still was a fun what if in the moment.
Super serum is out there. Bad people in the world. It could happen.
I actually don't know that it would happen, because, well, maybe it still can. But you'll notice that even the Red Skull's plan was different in this from what it was in.
Yeah.
He wants to bring forth the champion of Hydra, as opposed to bombing the East Coast with weapons developed off of the Tesseract.
Yeah, he doesn't want to wait, the 80 or 90 years, for the cycle or what. He brings it happen. He makes it happen early. That was the world-ending event that Captain Carter had to face. But the possibilities, that's what this series is so great about. Now it makes you think about all the possibilities and how tragic would that be? How tragic would that be?
Yeah.
And Emma's got the right answer. The answer is always yes, because multiverse. It's just whether or not we will see it. Like, everybody's fanfic is canon now. Yeah. In some parallel variant timeline. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I've gushed as much as people can stomach about Peggy Carter, but yay, Peggy Carter! Please watch Agent Carter; it's really good. So yeah,
go watch Agent Carter. It's a good show. And again, really enjoyed this episode. But we've been going for about an hour, which means it's time for mid-roll. So this is the part where I go, oh yeah, this is YouTube. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, if you haven't already liked a video, I would really appreciate it if you would do both of those things right now, because YouTube, This is also the part where I say thank you to our patrons, a group of wonderful people. Our Patreon High Council consists of this gentleman right here, Ridiculous Ed Tollett. Hope you're about to get off work, buddy. Our alpha patron. We love you. Drive home safe. I assume that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing most Sundays is working. Other members of the High Council include Lord John Bronsteen the Wise, Sixto Sounds, a.k.a. JP the Axe Grinder, and the lovely Lady Leaf Underhill. And they are accompanied by the lords and ladies of the realm, including Ryan Stavka, the Russian Quartermaster, and Reflective Rambling. Thank you, patrons. We love you very much. Nessie, are you going to have any content on your channel soon? Got anything in the works going on?
I'm just so busy with other things right now that it's got to stay on the back burner.
Okay, I got you. Just thought I'd ask. Erin, are you starting a podcast soon?
Yeah, again, this is me and Kate and Kelly with our podcast called The Unexpected Guest. So
Right.
where we just mostly are guests on everybody else's podcasts. So all the podcast is going to be is
that,
me
by the
and
way.
Kelly talking about which podcast we're going to be on coming up. So yeah.
I would watch the crap out of that. The three of you just give you a topic and watch you guys riff on it. Man, I would watch it. I really would.
Give us a topic and watch us decide whose podcast would be best for us to go on to talk about it. So yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So
that's not real, AK. It's just a joke. We're not actually doing that, but I just, since we're the sort of perpetual guests, I like to make that joke. So,
they are frequent guests on like my channel, John's channel. You see them around as guests on people's channel because they're smart and have good things to contribute to the conversation. But no podcast of your own yet.
No, I'm much too lazy to have my own. So.
Okay. Well, that is what it is. In that case, come back here next week where we will be doing one of two things. And I'm going to let Nessie is going to decide which we're doing because you're not going to be here next week, Nessie. You work every other weekend, so you're here every other Sunday, which means that
I got a Nessie weekend.
You are going to choose. Do you want? I know John. John says Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 or Rebels Season 1 because you can't be there next week. We're going to do those the next 2 weeks. Which one would you rather do, Rebels or Avatar?
If I had to pick an Avatar season that I'd want to be there for, it would be Season 3.
Okay.
That is the best.
I agree. John is actually very hyped to get to Avatar. I have it on good authority. He's already watching it.
I say carry on.
Okay.
Carry on,
so that means next week will be Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2. The week after that will be Star Wars Rebels Season 1. We're going to keep marching on the Star Wars animation. The week after that, I think I have an I Know That Nerd lined up with somebody who I've been trying to get for a long time. And they're very in demand. They have their own podcast. They have children, so there's not always easy to schedule things, but I think I've got a really good one for you. And then
don't say it.
I'm not saying it until I have something more concrete. But and then the week after that, Nessie, you'll be here for this one too. We're going to have a really interesting. We're going to have more of a symposium, philosophical conversation and discussion about canon. Why canon matters and why it doesn't.
Well, I think this show kind of like
there's going to be a lot to talk about. So we've got stuff lined up, a lot of animation stuff. We've been doing Animation August, so like that's actually going to continue through the first weekend of September. But yeah.
Oh, Peadar, do we have good news for you?
Yeah, Peadar. Hey, Yeah, this is just the mid-roll. But we're about to talk about the next episode. There's something else I needed to talk about.
Oh, that's also my birthday weekend, Stephen.
Which one?
The next time that I'll be on.
Nice. We'll make sure to roast you.
Yes, I'm sure. HereBeCon?
HereBeCon, well, no, HereBeCon's full.
Okay.
And like, honestly, for those of you that are in it and haven't heard from another source, like with COVID levels being what they are, we have not canceled HereBeCon yet, but we're in a holding pattern. We're going to see what happens. I already know there's 2 people from Europe who are going to come who can't make it now. There's a couple from Mexico and a couple from Canada. We're just gonna see what happens with what's what for now.
It's
so
late.
HereBeCon is a little bit up in the air. Keep your fingers crossed, because I would still love for it to happen, even though not everybody can make it. Anyway, I digress. That's not what it was. I can't remember what it was. It's fine.
You'll remember later.
Yeah, when it's not important anymore. But yeah, so you guys ready to talk about what if T'Challa was a Star-Lord? Yeah. So full disclosure, I liked this one a little bit better than I liked the first episode. This is in this episode, I seriously considered trying to adopt a new nickname. Like, I wanted to see if I could try on Cha-Cha, and because then I could pretend Karen Gillan was talking to me when she goes, "Hey, Cha-Cha," and I could melt into the floor. Okay, yeah. So what if Star-Lord was, or what if T'Challa was a Star-Lord? I really kind of loved this episode. And yeah, rest in peace, Chadwick. You crushed it, my man. You crushed it with this. And I know this is the last thing he really kind of ever got to do as a performer. But man, you went out on a high note. Wakanda forever. We love you, man. Thanks for all you gave us. But I loved this episode. I loved everything about it. It was such a wild ride and quite different to the source material in a way that the Captain Carter one wasn't. So I'm going to go back to the guest again. What did you think of this one, Erin?
So I again, it broke my heart to hear Chadwick Boseman's voice again. Like that. It was terrible to sort of just think that we're not ever gonna sort of hear anything new from that again, and sort of see anything like that again. And it was awful. It was okay. So it was awful, but it was also a blessing. Like Guardians is my favorite MCU property. The two Guardians 1 and 2 are my 2 favorite Marvel movies, followed very closely by Ragnarok, and then followed very closely by Black Panther. So I love sort of the Guardians universe. I was a little put off by sort of nice Thanos and nice but I was reading an article, and I'm sorry, I can't remember where it was from, but Brian Andrews, who was, I believe, the director for this episode, put it really, really well, where he said the galaxy didn't change T'Challa. T'Challa changed the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, like reading that, I was like, okay, there we go. That's what I needed to sort of settle it into the right context. But I also have to wonder if this was also kind of like half shade towards towards Star-Lord, you know?
Towards maybe
Star-Lord.
Chris Pratt specifically.
Exactly. Like it's totally where I was like, is this kind of shade towards Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and Chris Pratt? Like that they're like kind of everything went to shit under Chris Pratt, and then all we needed actually was T'Challa to go in there and be Star-Lord, and everything is fucking wonderful, you know, like pardon my language, but like Thanos is a pussycat and
there was no snap.
Right, you know, so there's I was sort of I kind of thought it was maybe an easy way out, until then I was like, no, okay, this is in fairness to Peter Quill's character, like he had sort of a rough go of it as a young child versus the upbringing that T'Challa got from his parents and stuff. You know, there are differences. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, literally everyone. I know Chris Pratt sucks, but I really like him as Star-Lord.
Right.
And I really like Star-Lord as a character. I think that it's, you know, I really do like him, but I loved this take on it as well. I loved the idea that, like, what if someone who was just sort of better than Peter Quill ended up taken by, you know, and Peter Quill is human and he's all these other things, you know, that are good, that are worthy of him. But like I said, I was like, this feels a little bit like they're kind of negging Peter Quill, you know. So yeah. But I thought this episode was great. It was super dynamic. I liked all the different the Collector was great. I liked seeing sort of his different wares and the callbacks to Ragnarok and Thor and then of course, Peadar, of course, we had Howard the Duck show up.
Everybody's favorite galactic waterfowl.
Who was obviously near and dear to my heart because he was only interested in happy hour, not in actually finding anything that was going to save the world or anything. So yeah, that was me and Howard the Duck were really connecting on a spiritual level right there. But yeah, so it I really liked all the sort of different, like you said, the first one was kind of sort of the callbacks were obvious, and like it's not like they were hidden or subtle in this one either, but they were just sprinkled through a little more, rather than, because right from the get-go, when he says Star-Lord and Jaimon Hansu's character is like,
oh man,
oh my god, Star-Lord, it's Star-Lord.
So good. Like Jaimon Hansu was a particular standout in this episode. Like I don't think there was anybody doing the oh gosh, Sebastian Stan level of like not connecting for me, but like Jaimon Hansu just being like, well, if I had to put a label on it, I'd say we were best friends, and just like how over the top he is in love with T'Challa. Like, how do you not? Oh, it was so well delivered.
Because it was so delivered in just a different way. Because I love who, you know, like I'm Star-Lord. Who? Like that's hilarious in Guardians too. So it was so funny that like they managed to like invert that totally, but still make it funny. You know, like it was still had the same amount of humor in it. It just was very different. So yeah. I'll be quiet now and let you guys talk about.
No. By all means, go off, sister. Go off.
But yeah, it was wonderful. I really, really liked everything about this episode. So
yeah. I love it. Galactic parasocial relationship. Yep. But I mean, Jaimon Hansu was a particular standout, and for me, Karen Gillan also a standout. Like her, like you felt that character, and the femme fatale role that she's to play was great. I mean, I love Karen Gillan anyway. I even saw that movie Gunpowder Milkshake.
The only thing I heard about that was it certainly was a movie.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Was that you and WBA? Yeah.
Well, somebody else basically said the same thing over in the WBA Slack, but I was like, I watched Gunpowder Milkshake. My review: it is a film I watched.
Of all the films you watch, that's one of them.
Yes, that is one of them. It was not the worst thing I've ever seen, but like, you know, a lot of the cast I really love, so I watched it. But yeah, the blonde Nebula who's wearing that slinky shiny dress. Yes, yes, yes. Work it, girl.
Where's Gamora?
But also sexy Collector, sexy buff Collector. I love that too. Like Benicio del Toro does a great job delivering the lines, but the art department did a really great job of making him buff, sexy bad boy. Like I really appreciated that they made him they really kind of upped the sexy factor.
Jacked in this iteration.
He really was.
Oh.
Here's a question that comes up. Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
It's C. Shoney. This is my brother-in-law again. Hi,
hi, brother-in-law, C. Shoney.
I think it was Sea Dog last time. So
okay,
Dog. I remember that.
Okay, Sea Dog, I remember. Good evening, everyone. This might have been asked, but seeing as What If is being billed as canon, do you see Marvel using it to bring characters back to the MCU, like Killmonger or Ultron, perhaps? I literally earlier in this stream mentioned Killmonger specifically as one I would like to see brought back. Do I think they're going to? I think that's a part of the reason that they're literally doing it, so they can go back into all the characters from the past that have been who've been great characters but haven't necessarily gotten all the screen time that we as fans want from them. Like it's a great way to bring back Michael B. Jordan or bring Hela back. Like So yes, the short answer is, do I see it as that? Yes, I do. And Killmonger is probably the one I would most like to see because Michael B. Jordan is a fantastic actor. I would really love to see him in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. He's a great character. It's funny though because I like this iteration of I would like this. I don't know. I guess I can't say I like this iteration. I've only seen the preview. So, but I like the main storylines iteration of Killmonger so much. Like I think that it's such a good and important and interesting voice to add to that I guess I don't know how I would feel about bringing a different Killmonger in, and if that would undercut what Killmonger brought to the story to begin with, or anything like that. So yeah. Oh, hi Clara. Hi Helen. Hi girls. Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, girls. So and Hoots on TV. So yeah, or probably on the iPad. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So,
even better. You're on YouTube.
I don't know. They may put you on the big screen. You never know.
YouTube is forever. So yeah. My sister and I call each other Hoot Peadar, so it's an old nickname, and so Erin is hard for little girls to say, so Aunt Hoot is a lot better. So yeah.
It's very cute.
Thanks. My nieces are also the cutest girls in the world. Sorry.
I can imagine. So,
but yeah, so I sort of would like that, I guess. I don't know. Ultron, I'm kind of like, I didn't really find Ultron that interesting to begin with.
Not my favorite.
Right. So, and I don't know. Most of the heroes sort of don't die. It's mostly villains who die in this universe, and Marvel had such weak villains in the early phases that I kind of feel like maybe they should stay where they are right now. So
but it is a way to grab the right ones and bring them forward.
Yeah.
Or
it's,
like,
I don't know, I guess, but like who? I'm trying to think of sort of who. Loki would have been a good one if we hadn't just seen a whole show about Loki. Right. You know, I don't. We saw Zemo again in Falcon and Winter Soldier, who I really, Zemo was one of my least favorite villains. Sorry, John Webster. I know we really super disagree on that, but I loved him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought he was great in that. So like, I'm trying to think of like, do we want Red Skull? Do we, you know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know who I would be very interested. Like Killmonger is a good idea, but like I said, I just don't know if that sort of undercuts what he did before.
I don't think it does. I don't think it undercuts the other, the Killmonger character that was, because like, this is the path that Marvel has chosen. Infinite possibilities for every single character. I'm here, like, I don't know if we want to spoil stuff from trailers, but Killmonger is in a trailer, and it does not look like he's a bad guy.
No.
There's also opens up the possibility that our heroes could be villains as well.
Also true.
Yeah, Zombie
Yeah,
Steve's not looking real good over there. So, you know.
No, he is not.
Plus, I've noticed
there's Killmonger right there.
And there's also in the trailer art behind you, I noticed that they've given Gamora Thanos' weapon from Endgame. So that's an interesting one for me as well. So
the
the
balance knife, yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm sort of interested to see. And again, maybe that universe is totally separate from this one, and Thanos is bad in her. And so I don't know. I don't want to make too many. I jump to too many conclusions about it, but I don't think that's probably a good thing for Gamora to be wielding Thanos' weapon at this point. So
I thought it was, the little nick at the end when they Ego, gets Peter Quill at the Dairy Queen. He hasn't lived the Star-Lord life. He could be like given, what
phenomenal cosmic power.
What Ego's intention was for him. That opens up a whole lot of doors for, maybe not the Guardians of the Galaxy, but the, Reavers of the Galaxy or what have you. Evil Star, evil Quill, evil Rocket, evil Groot.
That's a good point. As focused on Guardians of the Galaxy as this was, none of the actual original Guardians crew was in it. No, that's not true. Drax was in it briefly.
Yeah.
In a hilarious scene, I might add.
Yeah. Yeah, not Dave Bautista, but and both he and I obviously I don't know why Chris Pratt would come back to not let's just say one half of a line at this point, but maybe he comes back in further when the voice Peter Quill.
Kurt Russell came back to say one line.
Fair, super fair. So yeah. Well, they also probably backed a dumb trip of money up to his house too. So
yeah, and the thing is, like, people love Kurt Russell. Like, Chris Pratt is not necessarily, he's not exactly like on the outs with Hollywood or anything like that, but he's not my favorite.
No.
Due to some of the stances he's taken on things,
Right. Yep. His politics and mine do not jive, I would say.
Yeah. And I love his wife, and I wonder
his ex-wife.
His ex-wife Anna Faris is. Love Anna Faris. She's hilarious. Very funny lady, and anyway, we'll move on from that.
That just gives me even more thought that they dumped a pile of money on him. Maybe that he's just not just the little teeny cameo Kurt Russell at the end. But he's gonna have like a bigger, we're gonna have another what if later that he'll have a larger role in. That would be so cool. Yeah.
I would, Kate, if that's true, if the reason Dave Bautista was not there to voice Drax was due to a mix-up with his agent, I think he needs to have a word with his agent because the people want the real Drax.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we do. So.
Like, Dave Bautista is a real one. Like, I've seen him in a few things here and there since he started getting serious about acting. The man is a thespian.
He has a wonderful cameo in What We Do in the Shadows, Stephen, if that makes...
I have to give that a try. I'm looking forward to seeing him in Dune, But I think he's a genuine actor. I mean, yes, he's built like a brick shit house, but that doesn't mean he can't be a serious actor. And I think he is. It was kind of a bummer to not see the others. This was a T'Challa story, sort of what much it was a Guardians story, but it's still set in the Guardians universe, which I think is so fun. And they have such fun side characters and things like that happen. we got the return of my favorite character from the MCU. Taserface was back in this one.
Oh, okay. Taserface.
And he got a few good lines in. Is this job stuff or family stuff? Oh.
And
No, I was like,
Yondu is alive, so
right. I was like, Yondu.
Yeah.
He's alive in this universe. You guys, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 like 50 times, and I still cry every time at the end of it.
Yeah.
Every time. Between him and between the Chris Pratt, or between Star-Lord's speech, and then oh my God, Sean Gunn doing the and, when all the Ravagers come, I was like, every time I'm like,
I know, right?
So yeah, I was very happy.
Sean Gunn was back for this one too.
Yeah.
Two sea holes, 2 hear holes, 1 eat hole. Man, like the Ravagers continue to be a great source of humor.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. And this one it was kind of a little lighter. Like, at no point did you actually think that T'Challa was really in danger, and stuff. And I don't, dude, the Black Order coming back in this one too I was like, okay, well, they go down like chumps the second time, I guess. The Marvel Universe doesn't have a lot of respect for the old Black Order. So, yeah. But
now, a couple of them just get straight up, shot in the back or double cross shot or,
Yeah.
I guess it's only the big one. Like, here's the thing. I'm a Marvel fan. I don't necessarily know all the Black Order's names. Like, okay, Ebony Maw is the one that talks too much. Maw being a mouth. Okay, great. I can, I think
Corvus Glaive.
Corvus Glaive is the one that looks like a goblin. I guess it's Proxima Midnight is the lady.
Is the woman. Yeah.
And then
I don't know the big guy's
name.
And
then big chunky guy whose name is a play on something dark. Like he was the only one that wasn't just shot and killed.
Great chunky guy.
Big chunk.
Oh my God! Sorry, that's his name. No, that's his name. He doesn't have another name. Great chunky guy.
Yes,
so yeah.
Well, I guess it's Cull Obsidian.
Thank
But,
you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Sorry, you're too late though. It's great.
It's big chunk. Guy. It's big chunk now.
Yeah.
Dark chunk.
Sorry for your canon answers there, but
Speaking of canon.
We've established a new timeline here where that's his name. So yeah. But yeah, I loved when I don't know. I liked it being a Guardian story first. I will say my one sort of nitpick was that I did think that what would have been the strife between T'Challa and Yondu was resolved too quickly and neatly.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he lied about his whole civilization being blown up that's a pretty big deal. And he's kind of like, well, what are you going to do? So, and I get it. I get that T'Challa is this wonderful, person who has all this love and forgiveness and compassion. But I was like, I didn't really love that. So, but yeah, and someone mentioned earlier too that everyone kept being like, hey man, that's genocide though. Like that sounds a lot like genocide. I loved that recurring joke.
Yeah. It's just
no, but it's fair because it's random. See, I actually loved Good Guy Thanos in this.
Yeah.
Like I just like he kind of went soft. And it was so out of left field because who would have thought? And then it's just explained away with, oh, T'Challa, he changed my mind.
Yeah.
With a well-placed argument, which is exactly what you were asking for, Erin.
Right, exactly.
It's the stories where punching doesn't lead to the solution. T'Challa just talked him down. And then he's working for T'Challa after that as a Ravager.
Mm-hmm.
John says Thanos is an absolute highlight.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, my man. And the thing is, he's like, there are other ways to reallocate resources, basically talking about, Robin Hood or the Robin Leach name drop there.
Right.
So funny.
So so random, but like, yeah.
Because like it took me a minute. And I'm like, who? I know that name. What is he from? And it did finally come to me. He's the host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
The Rich and Famous,
Yeah, who are not reallocating resources. So yeah.
No, that's not what he did.
Right. They're the people that T'Challa would have robbed from.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Correct.
But that was also kind of a clever play on Peter Quill constantly quoting like Kevin Bacon, you know, like we're referencing Kevin Bacon and all this stuff, like these kind of Earth references that still somehow are making their way into
80s Earth references.
Yeah. Still making their way into the story. So yeah, it was really good.
And fun to see him, you know, out there, not with an army at his back, just one of the crew, clearly the one that can mix it up. You know, you can shoot Thanos and he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
You can still beat him down, but like, even that's hard to do. It takes a Cull Obsidian and a Proxima Midnight working together to do it.
Yeah.
And I would also argue he's not in peak condition because he's not leading an army on the path of genocide like he has been in our sort of like main timeline of the MCU.
Yeah, and doesn't have like a handful of, you know, Infinity Stone stuff to his, you know, arsenal.
Exactly. Yeah. And I agree with Santivia. Yondu and T'Challa had a great dynamic. Like they really did bounce off each other in a really great way. And I also love, where did you say you read it, Erin, where the galaxy didn't change T'Challa, he changed the galaxy?
It was an article that Joanna Robinson shared it on Twitter, I think, or possibly it was Joelle Monique who shared it on Twitter. I don't know if it was Variety or if it was a different one, but it was Brian Andrews, and then it's like AC. Hold on, AC Bradley. So it was the director and the writer who were talking about that. Yeah, right. Robin Leach doesn't really seem to fit in there, but you know, I guess he kind of does. So
he kind of does.
But yeah, so this was the director who was talking about it, and they were in the same interview. They also were like, "We would really like an Agent Carter movie, please. We would love to watch her just smash, or a Captain Carter movie. We'd love to just watch her smash it." And I was like, "Yeah, I like these people." So yeah, but that was, like I said, that sort of helped sort of center the rest of it for me, because I felt like it was. I certainly really liked like good Thanos. It just everything seemed a bit too easy. You know, like all these big bad villains just are little puppies at the feet of T'Challa, you know. And again, if there's a character in the MCU that I don't really mind that all that much, it's T'Challa. But you know, it just sort of was throwing me off a little bit, I think.
The counterpunch to that though is the sort of final scene in this episode with Ego showing up at the Dairy Queen, you know, which that's a sentence I thought I'd never utter. But like, because you're right, we get to the end of this and it's like, man, Peter Quill kind of sucks compared to T'Challa.
Like,
but it not like it's very heavily implied that like Peter Quill just wasn't good enough to bring all these
superior version.
Together. Yeah, right.
But like villain origin story. You know, his mom died. He left on his own. He was in a low-paying job mopping the floors of the Dairy Queen.
And that's why when he is offered phenomenal cosmic power, it's going to turn out different. Hey, Scotty W in the house. Man, it's been a minute.
Hi, Scott.
Nice to see you, buddy. Scotty Dubs.
But yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe it's unfair to Peter Quill to sort of say like, well, you weren't good enough, and so you this is why. Because I don't know. Peter Quill is a good person at the end of the day. He's a good person, but I guess I guess I don't know if that's what they were meaning to say either. It kind of feels like maybe you couldn't really write this without being like, are we kind of shitting on Peter Quill? You know, like these are smart people. They're
but
not.
The thing is, Peter Quill's always been the butt of the joke to some extent. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's okay to take the piss out of that character.
Sure.
And you know, even like aside from the actor, like I don't hate Chris Pratt. I'm just not, you know. But I like Peter Quill as a character. He's a fun character.
Sure.
But he's always been an idiot. I mean, like even like what's the line from Infinity War? That 50% of me that's stupid, that's 100% you. Like, I love that kind of line. And let's be honest, Chris Pratt can deliver them very well.
Yes.
But like, I think it's okay to. I don't think anybody's super surprised that if you put T'Challa in Peter Quill's place, things turned out vastly differently. Because Peter Quill has always been an idiot, and T'Challa has always been not that.
Right. Anything but that. Yeah, you're right that I'm not surprised. I just, you know, yeah, and I mean that's correct. Peter Quill doesn't have superpowers, you know, so he did, and then he didn't after his, you know, he killed his father. But yeah, and that's fair, John. That's
Yeah, this is a solid point.
Say, you know, while they were writing, you know, ending these things and making such a happy little place, there's Ego is still out there looking for his kid. You know, it's like the Reavers completely forgot that Ego was out there, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I will say I did like the sort of neat trick that they were like, the what if Yondu had delegated this task to someone. And like, mostly because I think that's funny, because it's like, that's a lot of times shit gets screwed up then. But I liked the sort of trick that they were like, because there was all the weird energy around Wakanda, that's why they thought that it was like this kid. And so I thought that was quite clever to sort of end up doing it that way. But I will say the one thing that I was very concerned about was why the Collector had Mjolnir. Because I was like, there's no way he can wield it. There's no way he can lift it. There's no, like, what?
How did he get it?
Yeah.
How did he get it?
And also, I mean, how did he get Hela's stuff? Like, there's no way the Collector to defeat
I mean, it's an alternate reality. Did you see? Dude, he putting reps in at the gym. So he's ready.
Was fucking yoked on this one.
Really
so
was.
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You know, without the Guardians being involved, Asgard just gets nuked. There's all this stuff laying around. Just go pick it up.
I guess. I don't know if it's.
But how do you just pick up Mjolnir?
You just kind of build a box around it.
What is it that what do they ask in Ultron where they're like, if you put it in an elevator and you took the
Elevator's
elevator,
not worthy.
So the Collector just had to build an elevator to put it.
He built an entire complex.
That's a good point. So
yeah, I think Scott's got a great point.
Was it made specifically for Thor though? I don't know. Odin says it was only to help you channel your power. Like, so it seems like perhaps it was made for Thor, but I don't know enough about the comics. So perhaps Kelly could step in or somebody and figure that out. So yeah. That's Joe S. actually. Joe S. has a good point that it may not have had the same powers after Asgard is destroyed. So
yep.
It seemed to in Endgame, but
Potter's right though. They had Cap's shield. He had Cap's shield as well.
Collector had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean he's a collector.
Yeah, like maybe T'Challa should have stayed on Earth.
I like that
what happened to Cap?
I like that they had Cosmo the dog in here too.
The dog.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I also kind of liked the idea of sort of flipping Thanos' mission to be like just from destroying elevators not worthy. To be like,
did he really have? Oh, I'm sorry. Scott says he had an X-wing. Did he really? I didn't notice an X-wing. That would be amazing.
Now I got to go back and look.
I'm sorry.
I kept pausing it to see if I could like recognize stuff, but I knew there's some stuff that I don't recognize, you know, and that's because I'm not that deep into the comics or anything. But man, an X-wing would have been, yeah,
perfect.
No, I don't know, Emma. I don't think.
Yeah, he does. Thor gets into a fight and Odin yells at him and casts him out to Earth, and he kind of speaks and he says, "Whoever be worthy will have."
But I
the
thought that
power
was always
for."
the case, but that he decided that he wasn't worthy after the Frost. I might be wrong. I haven't watched Thor 1 in a long time, but Thor's terrible wig in that one is too offensive to me. No, I'm just joking. But so yeah, but it might be. I thought it was the other way around, that he just became unworthy after he did the other thing. But yeah. But no, so it was kind of cool though. Like, I liked that they gave him Hela's stuff, because that crown is just iconic, you know. So I loved that I felt like this. One of the reasons I really liked this episode is because it was very surprising. Like, there were a lot of, like, Thanos showing up as a surprise, and then him having Hela's stuff as a surprise, and you know, like, they were like sort of these little delightful gifts to you. You know, every time another one came up, it was like, ooh, look.
As much as I just appreciated Howard the Duck, and of course, the moment he's on screen, I went, Potter's going to love it.
Potter!
But,
Potter. Oh my God.
Like,
Potter.
my boy Seth Green getting some work there too, doing the voice acting for Howard. I know that man's voice. I've heard him do a lot of different things. I've seen a lot of movies. You know, I've been a Seth Green fan since my Buffy the Vampire Slayer days. And I'm really glad he did a great Howard the Duck. Who else was like somebody? Was there somebody who was a standout? For any of you, anybody like whose maybe voice performance really just nailed you? I mean, like I say, for me, it's Jaimon Hansu and Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
Like
Really,
Karen Gillan, just like
really. She
God,
killed it.
I find the woman attractive to begin with. Let's, you know, I have a well-documented weakness for redheads, and I do love her like normal Scottish accent, but like the voice she puts on for this character, this version of Nebula, I'm just like,
yeah.
she can kick me in the face, and I'd thank her for it.
I think it's good. But it's not. It didn't feel to me like her Nebula voice. Like, it sounded different to me than it.
Yeah,
than
because
her.
That was her whiskey Nebula voice.
Yeah, it's because she's not been beat down.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I looked to make sure that it was her at the end, because it sounded almost to me like a different version of it. It was great. Like, it was a great voice performance, and perhaps I'm wrong to try and connect it to the other ones, you know, but it was a great performance. It didn't seem as much like Nebula to me. So
I mean, it's definitely a stretch. I loved it.
Yeah,
I like that side of her. That possibility.
Kate agrees, therefore I'm correct.
Oh, well, there you go.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate that.
Chadwick Boseman's was excellent. I mean, like you said before, that these are, I think, of all the sort of leads so far, like he's done the best job at voice acting. You know, like you said, it's Sebastian Stan didn't really crush it, and even Michael Rooker was a little, for me at times, you know. But I think Chadwick Boseman was really, really excellent, and I loved his performance here as well. So
yeah, I mean, I cried several times. Just
yeah, I don't know that I cried, but it definitely pulled the heartstrings.
I'm a crier, I guess.
Well, I am too, but I think it's just something about, I was grinning like an idiot the whole time watching this. You know, when Thanos popped up, when new guy went like, "Oh my God, Star-Lord, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread." When Taserface is being Taserface, when Sean Gunn is saying Sean Gunn things, like I loved everything about this. It was so wild and weird and fun and silly, and like, but it still felt like it might be the plot of a Marvel movie. Well, we got to steal the.
Did he freeze, Ness?
I think we did. What are we stealing? I don't know. We're stealing something. So, yeah, it did feel, it was very much like a heist game, a heist movie. Typical Marvel. This is what the Guardians of the Galaxy do. They're all about the heist kind of thing, and this. It was great that they did this, that they stayed kind of true to that aspect, but at the same time, it's looking at it from a different perspective. I'm glad that we got as much of the Collector this time.
Yes,
we did it.
100%.
Yeah, because he was just such like he's just this weird guy that Thanos is holding. Yeah, bye Steven, he'll be back. This weird guy that Thanos is jacking up for an Infinity Stone, and there you go, that's what you get. But
Right.
in this, he's able to step out and step forward, and you just see him in all his weird glory. Like what, what just an acquisition, just finally, thank you. What motivates this guy other than acquisition to just have all these things? He's just like the epitome of greed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just to have it, not to do anything with it. He's like, oh yeah, had a fitting stone, got 3 more. Got this last of its kind creature over here. I just have it, and I just have it. I don't even let other people see it. It's just mine.
Yeah, he's the collector, not the displayer.
Right. I'm just saying he really got to show that up, as opposed to like the little
shower offer.
Right.
Shower offer. Yeah.
The
museum.
He's supposed to be Jeff Goldblum's brother. Those two characters, the collector and the Grandmaster, are brothers.
I'm into it.
I'm into it too.
I could see it.
Sorry about the drop too. I was excited and I kicked the power cable from my computer. So it was just like, that's it, hard cutoff.
Yeah, I don't know, the sort of, because it's mostly like we're supposed to be horrified by like his collection of living things, and I liked that they brought back Karina to like to sort of at once again kind of be the hero here, and because I think she knows what she's doing in Guardians. Like I think she knows that she's either gonna kill the Collector or she's gonna die trying, and so I think that her actions are heroic in there. I like that they sort of bring her back here to be like, fuck you, buddy. So yeah, it's yeah, so it's like we're not supposed to necessarily be like, I don't know, disgusted by his collection of things, but we're supposed to be disgusted by his collections of like living things.
Right.
The dog. Okay, the dog is sad, so that's it. He can burn in hell for all the rest of us care. So keep your dog happy where you're out of here. But it's then there's Howard, who like sort of doesn't even really seem very fazed by the whole thing. He just wants another drink, So although I suppose it was nice of the Collector to give him a drink in the first place, since when he was in his bubble, but yeah, it's like his collection of like living things that you're like, that guy needs to get out of here, So how and why he got all of the Asgard stuff is sort of chilling.
But it's not important either, because it doesn't matter to this story. Like, the thing about the What If comics is they always ask what if XYZ, and it doesn't, like the things that are adjacent to that don't affect the story directly, they don't even bother with, because it is meant to be a one-shot story. If this spins into something that's more than that, which I have a suspicion that it will, like I guess they'll answer the questions that need answering for things to make sense.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a Thor What If coming up maybe soon. Who knows?
Well, he's right there in the artwork, so I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's.
It's the one I'm least excited for, because I think Thor's arc is perfection in the sort of main series. Like there's literally nothing that I would change about Thor's arc. So like I'm like, don't mess with it. It's perfect already. But I'm sure I will like whatever they come up with. So
it'll be fun. And it's not like they're retconning things.
Right.
Who
They're
is
just,
that guy?
having a fun riff.
Yeah, I like I said, I love Thor. So fair, that's fair. So okay, yeah.
You see, like a good solid points being raised.
She's supposed to be back for Love and
Yep.
Thunder, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah,
So.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to that movie too.
Yeah,
okay,
they're just
guys. We got about 10 minutes left, so if you've got final things you want to make sure you bring up about this one, or we'll throw it back if there's something we skipped about the first one, Peggy Carter. Go ahead and bring it up now.
I'm just going to say, if you haven't watched this series yet, buy yourself a box of Kleenex, get some chocolate, prepare yourself, get in an emotionally stable place, watch it.
Yeah, especially this specific episode. Because Chadwick is so well loved, not just within the MCU, but as an actor in general. He gave so many great performances outside the MCU. They gave him a really touching, in memoriam at the end. I mean, it's short, it's simple, but it's really sweet, and it gave me the goosebumps when I saw it.
Me too.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
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 No, it was this, like I said, I liked how dynamic and how fun this one was. I again, it's hard for me. It's hard for anything to beat Peggy Carter for me, but this was great, and I liked again, like you said, Stephen, the actual Guardians don't show up, but I kind of liked a Guardian story that's like a non-Guardian story in the Guardian universe. Like that was a fun twist on it, and it was a fun twist that like in this universe, Thanos was helping to try and steal something that was going to terraform planets and save them rather than destroy them, so I thought that was kind of a, like I said, a cool fun twist. But I don't know, it's interesting, the whole idea that sort of John brought up, that like even though everything looks much better, perhaps everything is going to end up much worse if Peter Quill is not Star-Lord.
Sean, I'm sorry, Sean's got a comment here, and I love it. Glad you made it home. His response to how did the Collector get Mjolnir? He got it after Kid Loki killed Thor. Ooh. And I'm like, I like it. I'm here for it.
Sorry, you guys, I have to admit that I didn't finish Loki, so.
It was good.
Me from the group. I don't like time travel, and I don't like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it was good.
King.
It was too weird and confusing. I probably, I don't know. I'm really excited to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I'm not sure if this will have any bearing on that, but I'm like, I probably should finish Loki before. Yeah, I'm actually going on the Friday that it opens, Kate. So yeah, very, very excited about that. But yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Kate. I'm sorry that I've let you down. I the timey-wimey stuff is just not my jam. So
I got you, but it really is it's the Loki Sylvie relationship that you really should go.
Yeah, really
and I will. I promise that I will definitely watch it. But it was hard for me to sort of keep watching it, and I just didn't really see a point in continuing. But I will. I promise. So.
Well, hey, if you're only hurting yourself if you don't, that's all.
I know. So yeah. So yeah. No, anyway, back to the sort of situation at hand. If this is what is to come, I am like, this is an example of what's to come. I'm very excited for this series to continue. Yeah. I do feel like some sort of through story, like. I know that John's like, oh, you want everything to be connected, but like, I think I want more of just a through line to the whole thing, to sort of pull it all together versus just sort of 10 disparate vignettes. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a through line about love or courage or evil or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I sort of want something that ties them all together, because I feel like that's what gives them more meaning, I suppose, in this sense. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. Perhaps you don't, but I would really like to see some kind of through line through the rest of the episodes as well. So
my commentary on that would be, I would prefer it. I think that's what's going to happen. But even if I'm wrong and that's not what happened, I'm still enjoying what they're giving me. So I'm not going to complain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're not long. They're not asking us to watch an hour and a half of this either. Although, again, I'm just saying, I could probably have stood way more Peggy Carter if you wanted to give it to me. But
I think that she might.
Gonna get more.
Okay, I will say there is definitely a shot of her from a trailer that was not in this episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like we will see her again before the end of this season.
There's also a lot of shots in a lot of Marvel trailers that don't end up being in the actual movie. But
that's true, but we're talking about finished animation here.
Fair. That's fair.
So yeah.
I just want to know, is it Wednesday yet? Is it Wednesday yet?
Well,
I'm ready for another episode.
In some alternate dimension, it probably is.
I would like actually to ask a personal question. Like, do you guys have like a moment in your life where, like, what if you had chosen like a different thing? Like, can you pick one in particular that you would have liked to see the what would have happened?
Yeah. What if Steven had run screaming from that woman? No, seriously, like, I'm a person that believes we are all the product of the things that happen to us.
Choices.
You go changing things. I'm not going to be the man I am today, and I'm fairly happy with who I am today. So I really would say no. I might like go back in time and save 6-year-old me from walking into that door jam where I knocked my teeth out. But other than that, not really.
Yeah.
Because I have my kids whom I love. I have my friends whom I adore. And who's to say where I would be today if I started changing major things like that? But like,
change something just to see how it would have played out.
Yeah, but just to see, there's
like, if you could sit in that chair in the TVA
what
office.
if I didn't log on to that internet chat room that night?
That one time. Ooh.
Yep.
Emma's same for me. Emma's is mine too. That's where I had a choice of where to go to grad school, and I could have picked 4 very different places, and I would love to have seen what would have played out. Like you said, Stephen, the choice made me who I am, and it brought me to where I am today, and I'm very happy with that. But that's my sort of I could have gone to New York, Massachusetts, Florida, or Louisiana. And I chose New York, and I would love to have seen what Louisiana Erin would have ended up.
Louisiana Erin.
You know what I mean? So yeah, or Florida, or all those other sort of things. Like, it's just I would have loved to have watched that movie. So not change, like you said, Stephen, not change it. I love where I am and who I am, and that choosing to go to school in New York is why I ended up here right now with you guys. And there's nothing, I wouldn't change that for anything in the world, but I'd love to watch that movie,
Yeah.
I would love to watch Erin, Florida woman.
Florida Erin.
Florida. Oh my God. Would you really be John then?
I would be
the anti-John, awesome. As I always am. That's the one thing that's destined, is for me to be the anti-John. So.
See, you could never have lived in Florida then.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I can think of a lot of ways that I could have ended up as Florida woman in the newspapers. So yeah, but
hold my beer.
Right.
Well, I guess it's more
my
like
beer. I think I could probably take that.
Hold my White Claw.
Get on the White Claw.
I know.
Get on the White Claw float, Stephen.
So, I don't drink, so.
With Erin, it would have been like, hold my rosé.
Like I said, Sandra and I have got a big White Claw thing going in the WBA. So yeah, rosé, vodka, White Claw. Yeah, so yeah, you guys might be.
It's a whole thing. I know.
Hold my booze. Let's just say so.
Hold my booze.
John, if you had done that, you would have missed out on seeing all those awesome puppets at the exhibit for the Dark Crystal. You also would have missed hanging out with Aziz and Ashaya. And like, as awesome as we are, you don't pass up a weekend with Aziz and Ashaya. You just don't.
You just don't.
But yeah, he'll be back next week. We'll be doing Avatar Season 2 next week. That's what we call a segue, by the way, in the biz.
There's a biz.
Yeah, so really enjoyed this What If series. We will be coming back to it. There'll be quite a few episodes stacked up when we do get back to it, because it's at least like a month away. I have at least 4 weeks of stuff planned, and there's other stuff coming out between now and then. So we'll get back to What If, but I'm excited for where it's gone so far. Final thoughts, Erin? Final thoughts, Nessie?
Yep, mine are just yay.
More.
Just yay!
Just more.
Gimme. So,
Okay, we'll come back next week where we're going to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2. The week after that, Star Wars Rebels Season 1. The week after that, fingers crossed for I Know That Nerd, with a guest to be announced at a later time. The week after that, canon, why canon matters and why it doesn't. And the week after that, maybe some coverage of that Star Wars animated series that's coming out, Star Wars Visions. Like, we are spoiled for choice.
I don't know. John says that all that Star Wars animated stuff is pretty bad. So I don't know if you're going to want to.
Well, there's a reason that we're doing it, and it's so that I can torture him. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming, chatters. It's a pleasure as always to have such fine, lovely, intelligent people here to riff on things with us and to throw your comments up on the screen. You really do make the whole conversation that much better. Nessie, it's always nice to get you when we can get you. Like when you're not out there literally saving lives, you grace us with your presence and your wonderful intellect. So thank you for coming. And Erin, just a pleasure as always. We'll have you back again at some point in the future. There's going to be a thing where it's like, oh, Erin loves this. We should get Erin.
It's mostly Marvel, but yeah. So also if you talk about what we do in the shadows, but it's yeah, but
okay.
Thank you. Honestly, I was really bummed to have missed the Why We Love Marvel stream. I was on vacation, unfortunately, so I didn't get to train for that one. So I thank you for having me for this one. I really wanted to talk about it, and I had a great time with you guys. So
there's always a seat for you at this table.
And I love you.
Maybe we will get on some What We Do in the Shadows stuff. Because I know Siri's a huge fan of that, and I'm always looking for ways to coax her back. She's one of my favorite guests. So
yep, she would be great for that one. So
maybe that'll get added to the list, and we'll come to it. But that's it for this week, y'all. Come back next week. We'll have a great time. Thanks, chatters. Thanks, Nessie. Thanks, Erin. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. And until next time, you know what it is. Peace.
Jeez.
And be excellent to each other.